Imagine a world where electric cars never need charging stations, never run out of power, and cost less than the average gasoline car. Sounds impossible, right? Well, one African inventor is proving the world wrong. Maxwell Chikumbutso, a name you probably heard whispered in tech circles, has just shaken the entire auto industry by bringing his self-charging EV to market for only $14,000. This isn't just another electric car launch. This is a potential revolution that could challenge Tesla, BYD, and every giant automaker out there. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear may change the way you think about the future of transportation forever. Maxwell Chikumbutso is no ordinary inventor. Hailing from Zimbabwe, he has built a reputation for developing technologies that seem to defy conventional science, from wireless electricity to self-powered machines. His latest creation, the self-charging electric vehicle, is now making global headlines. Unlike traditional EVs that depend on charging stations, long hours of plug-in time, or costly battery swaps, Chikumbutso's car reportedly generates its own power while in use. This means no waiting at charging docks, no range anxiety, and no dependency on costly EV infrastructure. And the most shocking part? He's bringing it to market at just $14,000, a price tag that undercuts even the cheapest electric cars from China. So how does it work? According to Chikumbutso, the vehicle uses a combination of clean energy systems integrated directly into the car's design, allowing it to sustain power indefinitely without external charging. While details remain closely guarded, experts suggest that it involves advanced electromagnetic and renewable energy conversion technologies. If true, this isn't just an improvement on EVs. It's a paradigm shift. Imagine millions of cars on the road, completely independent from fossil fuels or charging networks. Of course, such bold claims come with skepticism. The global auto industry, dominated by Tesla, BYD, Volkswagen, and other giants, has spent billions building EV infrastructure, from battery factories to nationwide charging networks. If Maxwell's car really delivers what it promises, it could disrupt the entire business model of the EV industry. Charging stations? Obsolete. Range anxiety? Gone. High EV prices? Slashed. It's no wonder some industry leaders are reportedly unsettled. Imagine being Elon Musk or BYD's Wang Chuanfu and suddenly facing an African inventor with a car that doesn't need the massive networks they've invested in for years. But beyond competition, think of the world-changing potential. For developing countries where charging infrastructure is almost non-existent, this car could open the floodgates to affordable green mobility. For rural areas, for Africa, Asia, Latin America, this could mean leapfrogging over decades of energy infrastructure challenges. At $14,000, it's not just a car, it's a statement that sustainable technology doesn't have to be exclusive, expensive, or controlled by the few. Maxwell Chikumbutso's $14,000 self-charging EV may sound like science fiction, but it's here and it's making waves. Whether it's embraced, resisted, or even suppressed by global powers remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The conversation around the future of transportation will never be the same again. But here's where things get even more intriguing. Maxwell Chikumbutso is not your typical entrepreneur backed by billion-dollar investors. His journey is filled with roadblocks, government shutdowns, and even accusations of his work being silenced or hidden. In fact, some reports claim that Maxwell's earlier inventions, including his self-powered generator and wireless electricity systems, mysteriously disappeared from public view after attracting global attention. Was it lack of funding, pressure from powerful industries, or something much deeper? Now, with his $14,000 self-charging EV, the question arises again. Will the world actually be allowed to embrace this technology? Or will it vanish into shadows like so many disruptive ideas before it? Behind the scenes, there are whispers of a silent battle. On one side, automakers and governments heavily invested in charging infrastructure. On the other, a lone African inventor presenting a car that could render billions in investments useless. Think about it. Trillions of dollars are at stake. Oil companies, energy providers, car manufacturers, and even governments rely on the business of energy. A self-charging car doesn't just change the auto industry. It changes everything from fuel taxes, to electricity demand, to the entire global energy economy. And history tells us, when disruptive technology threatens too much power, it doesn't always get an easy path forward. Yet despite the resistance, what makes this story powerful is the people's reaction. In Africa, where access to affordable and reliable transportation is a daily struggle, Chikumbutso's EV represents hope. For many, it's not just a car, it's liberation from fuel costs, from broken infrastructure, from dependency on foreign technology. Videos of the car in motion have already surfaced, sparking debates worldwide. Supporters call it the people's EV. Critics call it impossible, but the attention keeps growing. And now, with the official word that it's hitting the market at $14,000, the line between myth and reality is starting to blur. So the big question is, what happens next? Will Maxwell's invention scale up, reaching international markets and forcing Tesla, BYD, and others to respond? Will investors rally behind him to mass-produce the vehicle? Or will powerful forces attempt to block, silence, or bury this disruptive breakthrough before it changes the world? Because if this car truly delivers on its promise, the auto industry, as we know it, may never be the same again. As news of the $14,000 self-charging EV spreads, curiosity is rising across the globe. Tech journalists, researchers, and auto enthusiasts are all scrambling for answers. How exactly does this car power itself? Why hasn't the technology been fully published in peer-reviewed journals? And perhaps most pressing of all, why is such a groundbreaking innovation coming from a little-known workshop in Africa rather than the high-tech labs of Silicon Valley or Beijing? The mystery only fuels more interest. Every video clip, every leaked demonstration, every interview with Maxwell becomes a piece of a puzzle that the world is desperate to solve. Behind closed doors, industry insiders whisper about mounting pressure. Some say automakers are already investigating Maxwell's work. Others believe governments are quietly monitoring the technology, assessing whether it's a genuine breakthrough or a disruptive threat that needs to be controlled. Because let's be honest, if a $14,000 car can run without charging, what happens to the multi-billion-dollar global EV infrastructure projects currently underway? What happens to energy companies building solar farms and charging grids? What happens to Tesla superchargers and China's vast charging networks? One man's invention could dismantle years of planning and trillions of dollars in investment. And so, the unanswered questions grow louder. Is Maxwell Chikumbutso a genius ahead of his time, unlocking a form of clean energy the world has long ignored? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? The world is watching, and the battle between belief and doubt, between innovation and suppression, is just beginning. In Zimbabwe and beyond, whispers are turning into conversations. A few bold drivers who have managed to test Maxwell's car speak a quiet, smooth ride, but with an almost unbelievable twist. The battery percentage never drops. It stays consistent, no matter how far they travel. Some say it feels like driving into the future, a future where energy is no longer a commodity, but a right. Others remain cautious, wondering if what they've seen is an illusion, a carefully managed showcase rather than proof of true self-sustainability. Economists are beginning to weigh in, too. A self-charging car at just $14,000 could ignite an economic shockwave across developing nations. No gas stations, no expensive charging grids, no dependence on foreign oil. Imagine what that means for countries burdened by rising fuel import costs. Imagine villages and towns where the idea of owning a reliable car has always been out of reach, suddenly being able to afford one. Without ever worrying about fuel, it's more than just a car. It's a potential economic equalizer. But every revolution has its resistance. Already, murmurs suggest that certain powerful groups are not happy. Reports of closed-door meetings, mysterious legal challenges, and even threats of intellectual property disputes are beginning to surface. Some fear Maxwell may be pressured into selling his patents to powerful corporations, the same corporations that could bury the technology to protect their profits. It wouldn't be the first time in history that a world-changing invention was bought, hidden, and never seen again. In Africa especially, Maxwell's name is becoming legendary, not as a billionaire entrepreneur in a suit, but as an underdog inventor who might just rewrite the rules of global transportation. But the storm is coming. With each passing week, pressure mounts. Will Maxwell's $14,000 self-charging EV survive the global spotlight, the political interests, and the corporate resistance? Or will it face the same fate as so many revolutionary technologies, celebrated in whispers, but buried before the world ever truly sees it? Rumors are swirling that Maxwell has already received offers from overseas investors, some promising massive production deals, others reportedly demanding exclusive control of the technology. Yet, those close to him say he remains hesitant. Why? Because history has shown what happens when too much power is concentrated in the wrong hands. Maxwell seems to understand that his invention isn't just a product. It's a weapon that could disrupt energy monopolies, rewrite global trade routes, and even shift the balance of political power. And that makes him both an innovator and a target. Meanwhile, news outlets that once ignored him are beginning to pay attention. Small media platforms are calling him the African Elon Musk, while others caution that such comparisons are misleading. Unlike Musk, Maxwell doesn't have billions in capital or global investors backing him. What he has is knowledge, and a secret that could put those billions at risk. In Asia, whispers suggest that some Chinese EV makers are quietly investigating his work, fearful that their low-cost EV dominance could crumble overnight. In the West, analysts speculate about Tesla's reaction. Will Elon Musk acknowledge this technology, challenge it, or attempt to absorb it into his empire? But behind the admiration lies fear. Imagine a world where energy companies lose their grip, where governments can no longer tax billions from fuel sales, and where trillion-dollar infrastructures suddenly become irrelevant. For some, this isn't just innovation, it's chaos. And history tells us that when chaos threatens power, those in power fight back. Already, whispers of surveillance, mysterious visits, and attempts to discredit Maxwell's work are starting to surface online. Supporters fear that if he isn't careful, his $14,000 car could vanish just as quickly as it appeared. But here's the twist. The people are watching now. Videos of the EV are circulating on social media, spreading faster than officials can contain them. Forums, tech blogs, and even mainstream influencers are beginning to question, what if this is real? What if we've been ignoring a once-in-a-generation breakthrough? The more pressure builds online, the harder it becomes for powerful forces to silence the story. Maxwell's car is no longer just his. It's becoming a global movement, a rallying point for those who believe innovation should belong to the people, not the corporations. And now, as interest skyrockets, a tipping point is approaching. Will Maxwell reveal more proof to silence the skeptics? Will a powerful ally step forward to help mass-produce the car? Or will opposition tighten its grip, using every trick in the book to make this revolutionary EV disappear? The answers aren't clear yet, but what is clear is that the world is holding its breath. As weeks pass, the noise around Maxwell's $14,000 EV grows too loud to ignore. Videos from early adopters continue to circulate, showing journeys across long distances. With no charging stops, no fuel stations, no interruptions. Scientists begin to demand open demonstrations. Engineers want schematics. Investors want contracts. And the people are chanting his name. In Africa, they call him a pioneer. In the West, some call him a fraud. But either way, everyone is talking. And then it happens. Maxwell, against all odds, organizes a live public demonstration. Cameras from across the globe are invited. The world watches as his $14,000 EV is driven across hundreds of kilometers, monitored by independent experts, with no external charging. The result? The car performs exactly as promised. Its power remains steady, its range effectively infinite. Skeptics are silenced. Supporters erupt with excitement. Overnight, the story shifts from a whispered rumor to a confirmed revolution. But with confirmation comes chaos. Automakers scramble. Tesla's engineers begin urgent discussions. Chinese EV giants reevaluate their strategies. Oil lobbyists raise alarms in government offices. For the first time, the world sees the writing on the wall. A self-charging EV isn't just another car. It's the end of an era. Charging stations, oil pipelines, battery megafactories. All of it stands on the edge of obsolescence. And at the center of it all stands one man, Maxwell Chikumbutso. Within months, Production agreements are signed. Factories in Africa begin assembling the cars. Demand skyrockets, not just locally, but internationally. For the first time, the flow of innovation moves not from west to east or east to west, but from Africa outward to the world. And what started as a $14,000 car becomes a symbol that genius can rise from anywhere, and that true innovation can break through even the heaviest chains of resistance. Maxwell Chikumbutso's EV has done more than hit the market. It has sparked a movement, forced the auto industry to its knees, and given billions of people hope for a future where clean, affordable transportation isn't a dream, but a reality. And as the first fleets of his cars hit the streets, one truth becomes clear. The age of self-charging vehicles has begun. The story of Maxwell's $14,000 EV isn't just about a car. It's about the birth of a new world.